Welcome to First and 10 with Rams football coach Joe Prud'homme. I'm Jimmy the St. Christopher. In the SAC Game of the Week, the Rams smashed the Langston Lions 53-28 at Farrington. Rams now 6-1 overall. They're 5-1 in the SAC. The game started on the opening kickoff, an electrifying 84-yard touchdown return by Jason Price. And if it could get better than that, it did get better than that, especially for the Rams special teams. They blocked a punt and then scored a field goal. It was 11-0 after the two-point conversion of the touchdown. 26 points in the first quarter. Man, I have to look at my notes. There are 2-point conversions, another blocked punt, a blocked field goal, a Dylan Petway TD pass. That was all in the special teams. We usually name a special teams or a special player of the game. It was special teams coach Ryan Leitches. He was our player of the game. How fired up was he?
Oh, he was very fired up. We all were. I mean, the special teams were probably a big difference in the game. I mean, they came on, they blocked field goals, they blocked a punt, we convert two for two on 2-point conversions, hit a fake field goal for a touchdown. And that was big. I mean, that was really a dagger there at that point in the game. So yeah, they were spectacular. Kickoff return for a touchdown, a punt return of over 60 yards. That's a season's worth of highlights in one game. And so yeah, he was fired up. We all were, and it was a big boost in the game for us. I think that was the big separator between the two teams.
How surprised were you overall that it wasn't that close, that you won by that big of a count?
Oh, I was surprised. I was very surprised. They're a really good team. They're highly ranked. They were number one in a lot of categories. I knew if we could run the football, we had a chance to really do well. That was the big key. Could we run the football on their defense? And we ended up doing it. Ernie was very patient. He set a new school record. I'll let you talk about that in a minute. But he was great. The O-line has been borderline spectacular the last two games. They have done a great job up front. Pass protection's been there. The line calls, picking up a lot of stunts, picking up a lot of blitzes, and that experience is really paying off with that group. Dale had a couple of really nice runs that really complemented what Ernie was doing. Then Nick David West came off the bench and did a really good job as well. And it was a great effort all the way around, by everybody. But man, when the special teams are clicking and your run game is good, and you're stopping them on fourth downs, big fourth down conversions on defense, good things going to happen.
Was there ever a point where you felt that Langston could come back, and where was that point?
I'd say in the third quarter I was worried about it. When we had the illegal formation, we had a guy over the center on the punt, and it was a great call by the referee. I mean, the crew was outstanding. The officiating crew, best we've had in 2 or 3 years, and but we were over the center. And they ended up, it was 4th and 7 at that point. They get it to 4th and 2. They go for it. Our guys make the stop, and we immediately score on the next play. Then we did that, I'm like, yeah, we're going to be all right. But at that point, had they converted that, they could have got it to a one-score game, and then we'd have had our hands full.
And as you mentioned, Ernie Caesar, number 21, 158 yards. He had 3 TDs. He becomes the Rams' all-time single-season leading rusher now with 731 yards. 4 games to go. He broke the old mark set by Jamarcus Jones back in 2017, 713. Again, 2 rushing TDs. He caught a touchdown pass. What more can you say about number 21?
21's great. I catch a lot of heat at the house when I go home about why is he not getting more touches? How do we get ball into Ernie more? I think he had 19 touches and right at 200 yards of offense by himself. That's pretty good. I mean, that's a real good day of work. That's over 10 yards a touch. He's a special football player. He's a special athlete. He's just so patient. He feels his way through the line, and he has really unmatched that I've seen. Stop and start, and then explode out. And he does it behind a big line, and it's hard to find him. And he's physically very tough. But his balance and his speed and his burst are what really really define him as a running back.
And also in that backfield, you have number 3, Ty Williams, and then number 35, Nick David West. He had 97 yards, and that 53-yard TD. Boy, that was a thing of beauty, wasn't it?
It was great. I mean, I give Nick a hard time. I tell him how slow he is all the time and tease him about it. But he really got up and he was really moving at that point, and he saw the hole, and the line had a really nice gap right where it's supposed to be, and he saw it and he just accelerated. And Ty's the same way. Ty could come in and do the exact same thing. But we got 3 really, really good backs, and the offensive line to match it. And yeah, it was great to see Nick get untracked. He's been having some good play here and not so good play, and then another really good play. It's just been inconsistent. He was pretty consistent Saturday, and he took advantage of all his carries.
Let's give some love to the defense. Again, I'll have to refer to my notes. Jose Bonilla, 9 tackles, a sack, 3 TFLs. Daylon Rogers, 11 tackles, 2 pass breakups. Jay Reed at 8 tackles. Chance Carroll, 7 tackles. The D did allow 527 yards, but they bent a bit, but they didn't break. And what does that say about their resiliency?
Oh, I think the difference in our football team from years past to this year is, you just hit it, our resiliency. There's more of a confidence, there's more maturity about them. The young ones are growing up really fast, and they're doing a great job on focusing on one play at a time, one series at a time, and being consistent. I mean, that's the number one thing we talk about all the time, is being consistent, putting one good play after another, whatever had happened in the past behind you, but move forward and just do your job. The thing about our defense, they're playing such great team defense right now. If they're supposed to hit a gap, they know the ball won't come their way, but they're still hitting that gap and cutting off all the backside lanes. And then whoever's there to make the play makes the play. Wrapping up the gang tackling and the swarming was really good. I thought our rush defense was outstanding. I thought the pass defense was bend but not break. But I think we stopped them on every 4th down, and that's huge. 3rd down conversions, we were really, really good there as well. But we didn't let them untrack their run game. They have a great passing. Harrington is a really good quarterback. He's probably the hardest to tackle quarterback in the conference. I mean, that dude, he's big, but he's elusive. And the way he's elusive, it's really weird. There's no any big dramatic moves or cut. He just has enough subtlety and makes people miss. Very experienced, throws a good ball. He made some really nice throws Saturday. You take away those throws, it could have been, even a larger margin. But, I thought he was great the other day. And we couldn't tackle him. And our defense came off, and there were 3 or 4 of them go through the line, and they found Harrington and said, "Man, you're the one dude I can't tackle. I mean, we're glad you're a senior." I'll say that. So, but he's good, man.
Yeah, you mentioned that last week, that he could hurt you, and he hurt you last year. So the idea was not necessarily to slow him down, but to at least contain him.
Yeah, we wanted to try to slow him down, but we really didn't want him to scramble and throw, and he did that. He got a couple touches off of it. Last year he got even more touches off of it, and we just wanted to limit that factor. We felt like we could slow down the run game because we've been really good at it this year. We didn't know if we could contain Harrington. We thought we could, or at least to slow him down. But man, there were a couple plays. It's like, golly, how does he get loose? And then he keeps his eyes downfield and his presence, and he's good. But we did a really decent job of keeping him from winning the game.
And it helps with the opening kickoff of 94 yards and then all the special teams. How about Dylan Petway?
Yeah.
His folks, Denny and Casey, were up in the booth. Casey usually comes. That's the first time I met Denny, though. And Denny said about a month ago, he in touch with me on social media, and he says, "Well, I'm coming to the Langston game." And every game that he had been to, the Rams had won, so the streak continued. And Dylan had a great day. He threw the trick play, and then the conversion to Chapman. And
and then he ran one in himself.
That's right. They ran it in.
He ran one in. Chapman ran one in, and then he threw the extra point, or threw the field goal touchdown. And he was letting me know that he goes, "I got a perfect quarterback rating right now. I just want you to know that." I know Dylan. But we practiced that play, golly, 200-300 times already. None of that. Nothing we ran out there was like brand new that we drew on the sideline. It's all practice stuff, and the situation called for it. The wind was in Armando's face. He had missed the kick from the same spot earlier in the game, and I thought, this is when we pull the trigger. And so made the call, and he executed it, and it was they got close to getting him, but he threw a perfect strike.
Would you have run those plays had you not had that big of a lead?
Yeah, I mean, even if we'd been behind at that point, is that what you're asking me?
Yep.
Yeah, Yeah, it'd been a perfect time to run it. The conditions were right for it. You know, it was that time of the game. They were starting to get a little momentum coming back. The wind was in our face. The kicker had missed from that spot. We needed a shot of energy, I felt like, adrenaline. And Petway came around, boom, converted it. And I would have called it in any other situation probably.
Now the Rams are 5-1, as we said at the outset, tied with Ottawa, who beat the Rams a few weeks ago for the top spot in the Sooner Athletic Conference. 4 more games to go, 2 on the road. We'll dive into the next opponent, Louisiana College, coming up here in a shake. But is there a chance now, if they would, people start looking ahead to next week's game? And I know Langston plays Ottawa, I believe, next week. Do you have to tell them just, this game, this week, it's Louisiana College. Forget about, I almost said another word, but forget about, looking at what Ottawa's doing, what Langston's doing, what Arizona Christian's doing, or whoever the other teams are. So is it difficult to just focus on just one game at a time and rather than scoreboard watch?
No. Yes and no. When the game's over, that's the first thing you're scrambling to go see. But as far as during the week and what we got to prepare for, we made a decision, conscious decision. We should have had Petway's dad at the Ottawa game. That was a mistake. We should have obviously had a dad there. We wouldn't be in this situation. We had that conversation with him later. But no, our whole world right now is Louisiana Christian. And if we don't take care of what we need to take care of with them, they will beat us if we're not ready to go. And let's go. They're on a 6-game home win streak. They're very good at home. I mean, they are hard to beat. They're in Pineville, and they've beaten Arizona Christian there already by 2 touchdowns. Last year they had Langston at home right after Langston beat us, then beat Ottawa, and then went to Louisiana and got beat on homecoming, on their homecoming, Pineville's. And guess what this week is for them? It's homecoming. Yeah. They're one of those teams that plays really, really well at homecoming. I did some research going down. They're tough there at their place, but they're also really good on homecoming. And so we just have to go and we got to play well. I mean, we got to do what we've been doing, and that's focus on them and be very sound and effective in all 3 areas of the game. Special teams got to keep doing what they're doing. We got to shut down their run game. And we got to have success running the ball. They are a very good run defense. They're a very good run game. And they have Palermo, if you remember him from last year.
Yes.
He came in the second half and really lit us up in that second half. We had a real big margin. He brought him back. So we got our hands full. I mean, they're a really good team, and Coach Maddox does a great job with them. It's going to be, we got our hands full. I mean, we really do. If we take our foot off the pedal at all, or our eyes off the road, we're in trouble. I mean, they'll come get us.
You mentioned they're 3-0 at home. I didn't know they had won 6 straight at home.
6 straight at home.
Wow.
Yeah, 6 straight at home. And when you beat Langston at home, after Langston beat us and Ottawa back to back, that's impressive. And beat them, I mean, handily. It wasn't a close game. It was a good margin, and they beat Arizona Christian, good margin. They beat Wesleyan Baptist this past week. Good margin, 20-point win. So they're coming into their own right now a little bit. They're really starting to click better on offense a little more. They're getting better, more efficient. Their run defense has always been really good. They play some really tough man-to-man secondary. So if we're not prepared and not ready and don't execute, it's going to be a long day for us.
I've done a game in Pineville a number of years ago when I was doing play-by-play for Mary Hardin Baylor. What makes Pineville so tough, playing amongst the trees there?
I don't know yet. I don't know, other than when you watch them on film, they play at a little higher level of execution, a little higher level of intensity, a little more confidence in the way they go. I love the pine trees. I'm from Tyler, Texas, so for me, I'll be right at home, but I may be the only one right at home, except for our Louisiana kids and our Houston kids. But I don't know what it is about that atmosphere, but I'm going to find out obviously Saturday. And man, they're tough there though. They're tough.
So you probably already mentioned it, but what would be the keys to beating them at home?
We have to win. We have to win the turnover battle. Number one, we have to win the turnover battle. Number two, we got to contain their run game, and we have to be able to effectively run the ball. Special teams, we have to win special teams. If we do those things, I think we got a good chance. We're going to have to be able to beat man coverage, and it's not just your run-of-the-mill. They run with you. They are very physical in their man coverage, and that's a big deal, because it's one thing to shadow somebody. It's another if you're right in his hip pocket, and they're good at doing that. So we're going to have to be real sound. I mean, they held Ottawa to like 20-something yards in the first quarter out in Arizona and had 160-something of their own yards. So you're talking about a team that, man, they're capable of playing with anybody and beating anybody. So that's our conference, and you don't know who can beat who. And I don't want to be the one that comes out of there saying, man, I wish we'd have just focused more. I don't. So our world is all about, there's nothing in our world but Louisiana Christian right now. That's all that matters to us.
And when do you head over? Friday?
Friday. We'll go Friday afternoon. We'll go probably right around lunchtime, maybe a little earlier. After last week's deal with our last road trip with our bus situation, we got to have a buffer of time so that we don't get hung out on the road, or if there's transportation issues or whatever. I don't want to be fooling around with that at dark. I just want to get there, get our kids settled down, get them ready to play, get them fed, have some meetings, go out and execute on Saturday.
And it's a 2 p.m. kick on Saturday.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, go get them, Coach. Keep that 3-game winning streak alive.
Well, that's the plan. That is absolutely the plan.
Go over to basically your home area, the pine trees of Pineville, and beat Louisiana Christian.
Yes, sir.
For Coach Joe Prud'homme, Jimmy the St. Christopher saying, we'll talk to you next time on 1st and 10. Adios.